Yeah.
What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. It's been a wonderful season so far. We're about a month into the new Premier League season. There have been some surprises. There have been some fun games, some not so fun games. Spurs are doing good, so no one's liking that. United's in the mud, so we are liking that. Chelsea's struggling a bit. Arsenal's got some things going on. And City is still running the league. Speaking of City running the league, there he is right there.
There he is.
Hey, man,
What's up, Lewis? How you doing?
I was watching Colombia beat Venezuela.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
I like the jersey.
Yeah, some criminal refereeing we heard. But
awful, man.
that's about the same as is going on in the Premier League right now. But yeah, speaking of, we'll go ahead and start with the Arsenal as far as this episode. And I think that no better place to start than our new transfers. We'll start with Rice since he's been killing it. Comes in, and the big difference that I think is he's got all this Premier League experience. Chelsea bought Caicedo, and he's got, 39 games, 38 games when you bought him or something like that? So Declan Rice has like 300 Premier League appearances or something when we bring him in. Maybe it was 3 seasons. I don't remember the actual.
I think it was 3 seasons.
The actual number. But there's so little fanfare because we knew. We knew he was going to come in and just hit the ground running. He could play the 6. He could play the 8. He can do pretty much whatever Arteta needs. And I think that that's kind of where Arteta thought he would improve the squad this season. He thinks Kai can play in 3 different spots. Trossard can play in a few different spots. Thomas Partey apparently can play in a few different spots. So I think that's where he was going with our improvement for this season, trying to win the title. And I don't know, man. I get it. I understand versatility and being able to have a number of guys being able to do a number of things, but we still get injuries. And I knew Partey was going to go down. I mean, it's inevitable when we're coming up on a string of big games, United, and then we start the Champions League, and then the very next game is Spurs. 2 games after that is City. Right after that is Chelsea, and he's going to miss all of it. Partey's missing all of that, which it's about par for the course. And
better for y'all, though.
I mean, you hate to say it, but yeah, it kind of made the selection and the tactics against United an easier decision. And you hate to say that, but and I've shied away from the blessing in disguise phrase, but it's proofs in the pudding. We were our best so far this season against United by leaps and bounds, and it was all down to the formation, to the change in the tactics that some would say he was forced into. But if you look on the other side, no one's really talking about the fact that Zinchenko's been injured, which is probably why we were playing that, having somebody invert in the right side of the field instead of the left side of the field, right? And as soon as Zinchenko is able to play an entire game, he starts in the left back position, does the inverted thing, has a good game, and we look our old self. Now, were we at the heights? No. And I thought tactically we were brilliant. as far as our press and the way we were able to dominate and control the game. But what the newspapers and the pundits want to talk about is the goals and,
Right.
the results and the big moments. And at the end, we were able to get it done, and it felt awesome. It was amazing. But we can't miss chances. Kai Havertz can't be missing chances. Bukayo Saka cannot be missing chances. I don't care if you're England's player of the year, PFA Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's got to score there.
You got to be bagging that.
That was bad.
Yeah, and I think that performance versus Man U definitely calmed me down. I was on the what are we doing with Havertz train? What's going on? This is worrying. But the formation brought it all back for me. I even thought Havertz improved, had his best performance. I still think that he should sit for the Everton game. I don't think he will. I think he should. But I'm not Mikel, and I definitely trust Arteta to get it right. And I think that Kai Havertz desperately needs a goal just to find some confidence. I mean, you guys can tell me, when he scores a couple in quick succession, does he have a run of good games?
Nope.
Well, I'm praying. I'm hoping that Arteta can get what Potter couldn't.
Because he only scores like either kind of easy tap-ins or just banger wonder goals
For Germany.
So far and few between. So it's like, no, he doesn't hit these hot spells like Rashford and
Yeah. I get that. Hopefully he can prove everybody wrong, and we can
I think y'all know exactly what you bought, and y'all just
all the fans do. All the fans seem to. The pundits, everybody agrees, but I'm really hoping, like I said, that Mikel Arteta will be showing that smug smile when Havertz scores the hat trick at the Empty Head. I'm praying. I want to see it. I'm praying
You're
to
living
the
in
gods.
fantasy land, man.
Hey, we can dream. We can dream.
I
get it. I get it, City. Havertz scores. Havertz scores a hat trick, and we ship 10 goals. Yeah, I get it.
There you go. I've seen worse players do more. So
Well, you know the funny thing about Havertz, I'm generally an optimist in general. I can't think of anything for him. I'm being honest. I can't think of anything because he's just shown what he's shown. And the question that I have is like, he's with. I don't know if I should question Arteta or him or both, because I feel like I watched Arteta help other guys ascend, and this guy comes in and I'm looking for a direction, right? Because he's actually not getting worse either. Right?
No,
you know what I mean? Like he's
consistent.
No, he's played that game.
He's consistent.
He has played this same game for the past 4 seasons. Ain't nothing changing on the Kai Havertz.
He's consistent. He's consistently a 6.
Yes.
Consistently a 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
and that's confusing to me.
Well,
Except in a Germany shirt.
Yeah. He plays for
or
Germany.
goal doesn't count. If the
Yes.
goal doesn't
If
count,
he's offsides, he's gonna bag every
Yeah,
time.
he's gonna hit a worldie.
every time. Yeah.
One thing that as an Arsenal fan that would give me a little pause on thinking, okay, maybe things will come around is Fabio Vieira. How he has improved from last year to even now. Can Havertz improve like that? I'm not so sure, but Arteta does have a little bit of leeway because he's made some guys look much better than they were before they got there.
Exactly. That's what I'm. See, Patrick hears me. That's what I'm talking about. I'm confused about the Havertz thing altogether, man. But I want to go a small step further because I didn't talk about Rice. I think Rice has had an absolutely amazing season. I want to give him credit. now and Jake, you and I have like shared an exchange in the in our chat. But my question is that why do people feel it's necessary to elevate him to Casemiro level, right? And I'm using Casemiro as the bar because we already know the greatest center defensive midfielder to breathe air on the planet Earth, 616 and 1099. Both of them is Casemiro. And the fact that they're attempting to elevate Rice to him feels like slow down. That's what it feels like, a slow down thing, right?
Rice is the best. I mean, for that statement, Rice is the best English. Rice is the best English center defensive mid.
At the moment, yes, I agree with you.
So to put him, I don't think Casemiro is the best Brazilian center defensive mid.
He was for a little while.
Look, you want this is a perfect way to just shut that down right here. Did you watch the Arsenal Man U game? Who marked Casemiro into anonymity?
Kai
Havertz. If you get marked out of the game by Kai Havertz,
the dude doesn't move.
That's because he was breathing air. He was the greatest at it.
Yo, if you can't, don't talk to me if you get marked out of a game by Kai Havertz.
No, exactly.
Casemiro's best play in that whole game was either his attempt and then pull back so that Kai could dive in the box, or the one time they beat our press when somebody lasered the ball right at him and he had to swing a volley right to Anthony, who, gave the ball away immediately, of course. So, don't talk to me about Casemiro. Rice's levels, man. Casemiro's had his day. He was fantastic in that Madrid team that had 97 superstars surrounding him. Just like Mesut Ozil was fantastic in Madrid because he didn't have to do anything at all except pass the ball to people and stand there. I'm just saying.
What?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Real. So then I have to go into the playful banter, right? Because we're talking modern footballers. So then I mean, and it's not you, Jake, because I know it's not you, but now Rice in 4 games is better than Rodri, which I mean, okay.
See, that's too much.
I'm looking for the juice, though. You people don't understand. I don't mean you people, but you people out there, right? They don't understand that City is looking for every single chip to just keep laying them down there, right? So Rice is better than Rodri, who realistically, even though he's not,
Who said that?
Ballon d'Or candidate. Well, no, he is. My bad. He is one.
Nobody said that. Nobody said Rice is better than Rodri.
Yeah, well, I can find him because I promise you, I don't
You're in too many Twitter spaces, man.
But I mean, you got to think about. But Twitter spaces come from somewhere, and they're connected to other people, and people are co-signing it. And so, even though the person that said it might not be something, the hundreds of people who agree with that, they're people, and I'm sure they're saying it to other people. Because whenever we get to the next thing, you already know. Because Anyways, we'll move on from that. But I think Rice is amazing. I want to give him his props because I'm that kind of guy that I'm gonna give him his props, and then that's where I'm gonna stop.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm already a massive fan, of course. And X, you'll know one of my favorite positions. Even though I played forward when I played with UX, before that I played in the center defensive midfield role. The Partey, the Casemiro, the Rice, the Rodri role. That was what I played. And so I have lots and lots of respect for that position. And I'm hoping that, because I think Rice has the mentality. I really do. And I'm hoping that I was talking with somebody about how already in 4 games, I can tell you by next season, Rice will be vice captain. I don't think he'll replace Odegaard. I think Odegaard will be our captain for a long time. Captain in Norway, he's best player on the pitch for my money. most important player in the team. So yeah, I think next season Rice already is made vice captain.
Do you think he'll be over Saliba?
Yeah, of course. Rice has miles more experience than Saliba. Yes, Saliba got into the World Cup for like 20 minutes or whatever, so he's got a French cap. But Rice has England caps. He was captain of West Ham already. So yeah, I mean, if Odegaard and Rice come off the field, yeah, I can see Saliba getting the armband. Even though Eddie got it the last time Odegaard come off the field, which was interesting. But yeah, I think that all in all, I'm comfortable with where we are right now, as long as our switch to the new formation. Because we showed comfort, right? We showed that we were comfortable in that formation. As long as we can continue on in that comfortable vein and find the killer mentality. Should have been 6-1 versus United. We have to, those games where we're able to say that, we have to start converting 4 or 5 goals a game. Because I want in 5 games' time to be ripping teams to shreds so that when City come to the Emirates, we're ready. Because that's coming right around the corner. And it'll be the biggest game of the season. And I'm hoping that we're still, competing. I expect 4 wins before we get there. Expectations are high, and that's making it all really exciting. But speaking of City, I think Haaland should win the Ballon d'Or. Well past all other. I mean, for me, yes, Rodri could win it. If it was me that got to say.
They're never going to give it to.
But someone I think could win it past Messi, it should be Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I
agree.
He's just, and he's getting better too. He's getting better. He's improving.
Yeah.
It's so gross, man. It's just gross.
I pray he won't be at City for long. I hope Madrid or Barcelona just lay.
Why would you pray for that?
Because he doesn't need to be in. Let's go to Spain, man.
He doesn't need to win.
Go to Spain.
Not in our league.
Not in our league. Nope.
Yeah, man.
It's just like you said, he's getting better. And
he's too good.
He's 22, 23 now.
23.
He's becoming a complete player.
Right.
One day,
when he came over from Dortmund, he was just looking to score, and he would get upset. I mean, I remember, early on last year, he would get upset if he didn't get the ball, and now, he's coming back to get the ball. He's looking to distribute. He's there in the box to take a shot if necessary. Maybe he hasn't, and I know that it's kind of balanced out, but everybody was expecting him to just go hat tricks for the first 4 or 5 games, and it didn't happen. So people are like, "Oh, Haaland's falling off," but I mean, it sounds silly to say this, but I'm just shocked at how good City is right now. I mean, if you think about what they've lost, Mahrez, Gundogan,
KDB's out.
KDB's out, but yet they just keep rolling along. And
Doku looked good.
Yeah.
And of course they don't have Pep for 2 games.
Doesn't matter. And although Kyle Walker doesn't pull that BS versus Sheffield if Pep's standing on the sideline.
It does.
If Pep is on the sideline, Kyle Walker doesn't do that crap versus Sheffield.
He's playing that out to the side.
Yeah.
But I've been blown away at just how good City have been, because it's so easy to rest on your laurels and say, hey, we won the treble, we run this league, and get complacent, and that's anything but with City. And one, that's credit to Pep, but 2, that's because you've got a guy like Haaland wanting to get better and get the guys around him to get better. And that's a big freaking deal, especially with a guy who's 22, I think.
22,
he's like
23.
Yeah, he should be 23 soon, I think.
Yeah.
He's 23 now.
He is? Yeah.
Well, the thing that's interesting, Patrick, you said something that I think is the thing. Man City lived in the and I guess to a degree still lives in the shadows of Manchester United, a historic club, one of the most valuable clubs in the world. They are who they are. You'll never hear a real City fan or a supporter of football, the game, ever look at United's history and try to just shove it away. It's real. They had the best manager in the world for a really long time. I mean, the question about how much he changed the game or what kind of tree he grew as far as teaching other guys to do the same thing, that you can call into question. But what he did when he was the boss, zero question about what he did. And it covered a lot of cracks of how they ran the club behind the scenes, right? Because clearly that stuff is in front of our faces now. And saying things like legacies end and whatever other goofy things other managers have said there. It is what it is because they think the name is enough. And so City's fighting for their own history because City understands, and this is what happens when they bring in the players, that it doesn't matter what they win because people will always have an asterisk next to it because of money or because of the 115 charges or they're the little brother or you don't have 20 titles. They'll always find a way to marginalize it, right? And so because of that, what it does is that Pep, and I think it's public knowledge that Pep has said it, but there's other people who said it. If a player says they don't want to be at City, Pep lets him leave. He lets him leave. And it doesn't matter how good they are. Mars is still good. He still could play. He wanted money. He let him go. Gundogan left. And I mean, he went to Barcelona to whatever that is there, right? And the latest one, and it doesn't matter the age. I mean, Cancelo left too, but
Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer left. And then the news comes out that he made a demand to the manager. First of all, who are you, right?
Exactly.
I mean, no, and it's no disrespect because he can play ball. But I mean, the way he developed and being in the presence of those people actually builds the sort of a mentality. And so I remember when we talked about the potential of the transfer, and I'm like, well, where would he go? Because Patrick is like, well, I guess he might play central. Well, like he's a wing. Like where's he gonna go? And I mean, I guess he'll play centrally when he goes there. And it's not like he's a bad player, but I mean, if that's
he did in the first game,
right? But
he came in as a winger.
If that's the mentality of it got to be about me, and that's what he's bringing to Chelsea, then hey, good luck, man. Good luck being where you are. Chelsea will win things again in the future. They may win something this year, right?
And hang on. I want to point this out now.
At some point in the future.
Hang on. I want to point this out though. Same conversation was had on our end with KDB, and look what he turned into. Same conversation was had.
It's not the same though because he's leaving Pep. Pep wasn't at Chelsea.
He left Mao. That's what I'm saying.
Joe
KDB went to Mao, told him I should play, and Mao was like, "Dro, you don't have a spot here."
But here's the thing. So right before he sent De Bruyne away, did De Bruyne start 4 consecutive games as the starting winger and remove the player where your competition was gone? No, he didn't do that. So it's not the same. So he and his face was, hey, this is your starting job. We're bringing in a guy. He's not going to start over you. You play because you know my system. And he left. That's his choice. And that's not De Bruyne for the reason that, he can go to Chelsea and go to prove that. But think about where De Bruyne went. De Bruyne went to Wolfsburg where he was like, okay, this is a place fresh. It's German, so it's close to home. And I get to be the guy. He's not going to Chelsea to be the guy. Like, he's not even going to be that guy. Like, who is he supplanting on your wing? When your whole team is healthy, whose place is he taking? No one's. De Bruyne went to Wolfsburg knowing that he was going to be it there.
I do think he displaces Mudryk for a while.
He doesn't play on the left, though. Cole Palmer plays on the right in Sterling's spot.
He's supposed to play.
Sterling
he's supposed to play across the line. I mean, that's why they brought him on.
Sterling and Nkunku have that.
I mean, Lewis, you know better than me. Has he ever played out left?
He has, and here's the thing. So when, for example, what Patrick said, he plays across the line. When he played on the opposite side, he was horrible. He couldn't play well there, and because he couldn't shoot, he couldn't get on his foot. So I mean, I wish him well, but it's the thing of It was literally set up for you to play. And so you started 3 or 4 games, you were there. In addition to that, if you really wanted to go, if you had this sort of mentality, why not go in January? Why not give it a run and then go in January? Because that would actually make sense. Because then you could say, hey, you know, this Doku guy's not better. I mean, so you sat in Pep's system for 3 years and said, you know what? I need to be the guy.
When it came time to actually get to play, you decide to leave.
And Phil Foden literally went through the same thing. The season before last, Phil Foden was a monster coming off the second young player of the year. He was supposed to be starting. And then what happened? People were like, what happened to Phil Foden? Because Jack Grealish came in and played over him.
Jackie G.
Phil Foden didn't quit. De Bruyne got hurt. Phil Foden, everybody was like, well, it's time for Phil Foden to step up. And then Phil Foden said, I got it. I mean, yeah, Phil, and people were like, well, Phil Foden should leave. But if you know this manager can bring the best out of you, you stay. So maybe he thinks Pep can't bring the best out of him. And this is why I say I wish him the best, because we know Poach can bring out qualities in young players. So maybe that's what it is. But I just feel like I still would wait. If I was him, I would have waited to go to Chelsea to see where Chelsea was in January. I just felt like that if that's what you're going to do when you want to go, because I respect wanting to play. I don't have a problem with that at all. I just felt like the timing and then to hear that, you know, you kind of demanded something from a guy that you just want to treble with, and then you want a 4th trophy. But we were talking about Haaland, right? And so, yeah, Haaland should win the Ballon d'Or. But I want to read this thing that I thought was funny, because like the Rice thing that I said, where you said, well, you know, it's only a few people. Well, the thing that I showed you or shared with you about Messi has been shared by 108,000 people. And it says that he should win the Ballon d'Or, which I hear you. And then you can see a variety of outlets that says Messi should win it. He's a 93%, whatever. And that's nice, because that's narrative creating, right? Because they show Messi. Here's his stats. Messi had a fantastic stats. 41 goals, 26 assists, and 67. And so 67 goals and assists, 153 chances created, because now they're going to do chances created, because you have to find a stat that's specific that a forward would not have, right? 153 chances created. I don't know what this other thing, and 25 man of the what right? Compared to Haaland's 56 goals, 10 assists, 66 goals and assists. And then you got 41 chances created. I mean, what was Haaland doing on the field? He didn't create 100.
Not working hard enough, I guess.
Right? I mean, then they'll talk about touches, right? And only 11 man of the matches, only 11, right?
Only
so
11.
Then they showed the awards, and so Haaland only has 3 trophies, right? Only to miss that he won the Super Cup. But anyways, only
BCC is big chances created.
Oh, well, yeah. So
The
there's
44 number is big chances created.
44 for a Messi and 14 for Haaland, because again, Haaland just doesn't pass the ball, because
Except he got an assist in his latest game.
But then Messi is FIFA's best, Argentine player of the year, World Cup player of the tournament, even though we all know it was Mbappe. But anyways,
it was Griezmann. It was Antoine Griezmann.
It was a French player. Don't matter. It wasn't that.
Moving on.
The IFFHS best player, top goal scorer, the Laureate World Sportsman, the best counting ball player, and Haaland didn't win any of those awards. I mean, obviously, he can't win any of the
He
other
can't
awards.
win any of the international awards.
Because he couldn't win that one because he wasn't in the World Cup, and he couldn't win those other things.
And that's his fault too.
Haaland
Norway
won.
should have been there. That's his fault.
Right. And so all Haaland won was the PFA Player of the Year. They're missing that he won a bunch of other Player of the Year, but they left that out. And the Golden Boot. But where? What Golden? It's just the Golden Boot. But he won it in the Champions League, and he won it
And the Premier League.
In the Premier League. So,
Smashed every record you can come up with.
and then he literally just won the Player of the Year for two different things. But that all got left out because narrative fixing is, we need Messi to win. And here's my thing. I think Messi is a historic, mind-blowing, amazing player. And what confuses me is, what's the problem with saying, hey, you know what? He wasn't the best player this year. What's wrong with that? Like, what's the matter with that? So people are getting their rocks off on Ronaldo didn't get nominated this year, even though if we look at his resume, it was probably pretty sick. But he didn't get nominated at all. He didn't make the top 30. Fine. So we're looking and we're saying that this guy wasn't the best player 22-23, which I'm struggling to find how that's possible. And then we're leaving out the best part, because Messi was in France in Ligue 1 and he didn't win the player of the year or the top goal scorer, any of that stuff. And this was his third season there, right?
Didn't Florian Balogun score more than Messi in Liga this season?
Exactly. But this is Messi's third season. So we're also leaving out the fact that this is Haaland's first season in the Premier League. And he broke the league record for scoring, but that's not an award that they can list in this. I look at it. He had the most hat tricks. It's funny to me because, okay, you want Messi to be there. This is his last one, swan song, whatever. But why? It's similar to and I think I mentioned this, the Michael Jordan thing. No one's taking away how great he is if he doesn't win this one. He's great.
For me, he's still probably the greatest ever.
With that,
even without it, all of this crap at the end of his career for me is kind of tarnishing it all a bit. Go ahead, X.
Does this Ballon d'Or get documented as a player from Miami winning it?
It probably will.
Oh my God!
So the Ballon d'Or will be the first MLS Ballon d'Or winner.
Yep, and he's playing.
It's going to Messi.
Played enough in the league where he's associated with Miami now.
It's going to Messi.
I think
that sold me. It's going to Messi.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
It fits their narrative now. Yeah, it's a movie. Remember, it's a movie. That fits the narrative.
I think
the MLS can now say
they have something the Saudi league doesn't. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I think the issue is that because the Ballon d'Or is who votes on it?
FIFA.
Sports writers? FIFA?
Yeah, it's just FIFA.
The people who are making the narrative right now.
Yeah, so it's put on by FIFA, so yeah.
It's a popularity contest. That's all this is ever.
But here's
they didn't give it to Robert Lewandowski when he clearly won it.
Dude. Yeah, they gave it to Pavel Nedved over Thierry Henry. Get out of here! Come on, it's been rigged forever, dude.
X has a great point, and my bad, Patrick, not to cut you off. They literally, because it would have broke the consecutive years that Messi would have won it if Lewandowski got it in 20, and they didn't give it to him. It was terrible because Lewandowski totally deserved it that year.
Patrick, you're right. Patrick's right. It's voted on by journalists.
Oh, then yeah.
So here's where I'm going with this.
It's Messi.
You can't tell me that he finally wins the World Cup and the journalists are going to forget about that because a 22-year-old had an incredible season. And I think
that
Haaland should win. I'm not saying that I think Messi should win, but let's think about who's voting on this.
Yep.
We're talking about, how can he win the World Cup but yet not be the best player in the world?
Easy, because he won the best player in the tournament.
Well, I get that. No. I get that. But the narrative
I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, we had this discussion, right before the World Cup. Is he the greatest of all time? And a lot of us said if he won it, how do you argue against it?
It's the way he won it.
I know.
They made up tournaments so he could win a national cup. They made up.
I agree with Patrick. I do agree with Patrick here. I do think Haaland should win it. I don't think he's going to get his dude. I don't. They robbed Lewa of it for the same reason.
Haaland is going to win it because somebody got to say it.
But think about this.
He should.
Here's one thing you have to. It's sort of like the Heisman in football, right? You have two players on the same team. They split votes. Rodri's in there,
but he's not going to.
Haaland's in there, and KDB's in there.
City got 7 players in there. 7.
It was all City. It was Messi and then half a City's team.
Messi's going to get the most votes as a result.
Yeah, of course.
Because
it's all City haters. No, it's all United fans. That's who's voting.
Oh, yeah.
What I need is the Ronaldo supported club to hate on Messi in mass.
Ronaldo has more gram followers than anyone in all of history. If he could just if he can just
endorsed and
mobilize his team.
Yo, if he
All we
endorsed,
got to do is say Haaland for Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
just
it.
hashtag Haaland Ballon d'Or, and he's done it.
And he's
But I
done
got a
it.
question, Patrick, because I like your insight. This for all of you, but I want to ask Patrick first. And I thought about this earlier. I wonder what Haaland feels because the Ballon d'Or don't come around all the time. I really wonder because he sees this. It's not like he's blind and he don't see this. What do you think he thinks about that? Because I know he respects Messi. And there's a difference between respecting the guy and getting robbed. And so Haaland will win the Ballon d'Or this year because that's what the universe needs. It needs someone to say it. So I'm saying it. But what do you think he thinks about this or feels? I'm asking Patrick, but obviously all of you can answer.
Honestly, I think this is going to sound crazy. I think his dad's more worried about it than him. I really do. I think Haaland is just like, you know what? I'll just go do it again.
Yeah.
And Messi's not going to be.
Messi's a year older. I'm still 23.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to win mine.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't win it, I figure he just goes and smashes some other records to where they can't vote for him at that point. Or they
I don't
can't
know.
not vote for him at that point.
Based on what he said after the Fulham game, he might have a say. He might have something to say about it because he told NBC that if he was Fulham, he'd be pissed. It's pretty candid. So maybe he would, if asked, maybe he would be like, yeah, it's total BS. I should win.
They should
Yeah,
ask.
it could be.
They should. Yeah, they totally should. Absolutely. But yeah, I think I agree. Haaland he's just going to improve and he'll be better. And it's scary because I think that City are just, as much as I back Arteta and I believe in the boys, where we stand right now, title of the episode, where we are so far, it feels like City's just about to walk.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I'm not happy about it. And if we look across London to the blue side, it's some worrying signs. You beat Luton 3-0. I wouldn't say dumpster fire. We've put out the dumpster fire from last season.
Not the smoldering coals because
Pochettino took a nice look at it on last Sunday at last season versus Forest.
Today is the 1-year anniversary of Potter being appointed.
Why keep calling him Pochettino?
Yeah, I know that's mean.
That game made him look like Graham Potter.
That's way. It's way too soon. It's way too soon to be doing that. A formal apology to Mr. Pochettino. We'll save that name for after next game.
Yeah, after you lose
Bournemouth.
Yeah, when y'all lose to Bournemouth.
Same way, 1-0. Yeah.
But no, I mean,
let's go Cole.
Let's go Cole. I'm not, I guess, the optimist in this. I've seen flashes of there being something there. I think the biggest thing is that Potter was Potter. Goodness gracious.
I did that to you. That's my fault. I did that to you.
Pochettino was so fixed on, okay, Nkunku and Jackson are going to play together and everything's going to be fine. And he's trying to fit somebody else into that role, and there's no one in the team that can do it. So
how long is Nkunku out?
Till October, I think.
Wait, those are two different answers.
What'd you say?
Till January, right?
You sure?
Say what?
He's not.
I thought it was
till January.
Hold on, you may be right. Hold on.
Because that's a big thing. Because if he's just kind of pasting over, waiting for Nkunku to be back, or maybe Cole Palmer's the answer, and he can.
3.5 months is what they said, which would put him.
Jesus Christ, man!
That's bad.
That would put him December.
What is his injury?
It was his.
It's a knee injury.
Sounds like ligament. Sounds like ligament damage.
Surgery on it immediately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, he was at home. I think they got him home before the team actually came home.
So y'all need to find an answer and not a Band-Aid.
Cole.
Because y'all have seen your fixture list coming up.
Most definitely.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and Pochettino's not listening, so it doesn't matter what I say, but he's got to stop playing Chile as a winger. He's got to. It leaves the left side totally, useless because the ball doesn't circulate that way. But also, when it does, it leaves Colwell on an island, and teams just counter off of him.
I mean, will Chile fit in one of the center back roles in this formation, though, is the
He
question.
wouldn't be a center back. He'd be a left back.
Will it be in one of the three, right? Because you have the two wing backs. So somebody would have to play that up and back role.
Bullied. So their same problem with Cucurella that you've seen, or any type of negative comment you can make about Cucurella's game, Chile would experience every bit of that if we moved him to one of those middle three. He'd get bullied off the ball, beat with speed, lost too far up like Colwell does when he gets stuck in the island.
But here's the thing.
I think it'd be a nightmare.
In the summer, when everything was going well, it was a 4-3-2-1. That's what it was. That's exactly what they played. And ever since we've had all these string of injuries, it's been more of a, while they say it's 4, and Thiago Silva actually responded to a fan and said, yeah, we're playing 4 at the back. It's a bigger 4, sort of like what Pep's trying to play. Other than Gusto, you've got DCC, Silva, and Colwell, which then pushes Chile all the way forward. I mean, he's playing as a left winger. But
if Gusto's getting way forward too, that's leaving you with 3 at the back, especially if teams go into that space behind him.
Yep. Yeah. I don't like Pat. I think what Patrick's getting at, I don't doubt this. Well, actually, no, it's kind of the opposite. I'm sorry. I don't doubt this system works when you replace Silva with Fofana and Badiashile. I would put Badiashile up there with Colwell.
Over Colwell, like in for Colwell, so alongside him.
Yeah.
And you'd sit Silva, or you would have Silva in there as well.
Silva gets displaced. Silva gets displaced. He comes in.
You think Silva will get displaced? I think
if all of them are healthy. I see Silva being displaced over with Fofana immediately for that.
Oh well, yeah, Fofana's playing, but he's not coming back to
You're not going to sit Colwell over Silva because
really, Jesus,
I don't think so. And Badiashile, again, I don't understand why we would pay $60-70 million to these players.
When's he going to be back? He's supposed to be in
after this.
He's going to be back here soon.
Yeah, he's coming. He'll be back for Bournemouth.
So, and that's the thing. I think it works when you have someone who has a little bit more of a speed to them and this defensive prowess like Badiashile does. So Chile can take those risks in being further up. But again, I get it. It's just Chile's not the left back that's going to dink you in those goals like that. He plays a great ball in, but he's not going to score up there. So it's almost as if like him crossing the box and in front of those box runs that we've seen him do 3 or 4 times and miss horribly or not take the shot at all because it's not in his instinct. Like, I get it. We're trying to whip these balls in and you need that extra man. Reece James is a perfect example of being able to do that in almost any tactical system that we've played on that right-hand side with the overlap. It's just,
would you say that Chile needs James to be
effective,
as effective as he can be?
Yeah.
He needs somebody to be hitting that ball to the back post like that. Because Gusto got in those positions that James did, but his final ball just wasn't really there versus Forrest.
He wasn't blocked for his offensive prowess by any means. He was blocked for defensive purposes.
Yep.
So I'm looking real quick. So Broja should be back.
Oh, I forgot all about him.
Yeah. So he should be back. He's already in partial training. Reece James will return soon. Badiashile is already in partial team training. Shalabah's in a rehabilitation program. Carney's in early stages of his rehabilitation program.
Yeah, he just had his surgery.
Same thing with Wesley Fofana. Nkunku is continuing with the early stages of his rehabilitation program. And then Lavia is at partial team training at this point. So he probably will play. I wouldn't say for Bournemouth, but I think after that you would start seeing Lavia as well. But
It's
you know, we've got to have somebody to score goals. I think Jackson's going to be fine. He just doesn't have that player to play off of, or a player to play off of him, even like Nkunku did. So maybe with Brozic back, he might get a little bit of time to kind of see everything going on. I do think that's, as crazy as that sounds, I don't think he's seeing the field either. I think what he's seeing is, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to try to run as fast as I can past somebody. And instead, he's not looking for, the outlet and then to make a diagonal run into the box or whatever it might be. It's very straightforward. It's very route one with him right now. But I've seen some positive things. I've seen some negative things. I think we're still in that whole rebuilding time frame, but I think once we start getting some of these guys back, we'll start to round into form too. But we're going to have to be a little bit lucky here in the next 3 to 6 weeks for sure.
I mean, yeah, but you'll need to be the next 3 games before because your really bad run starts with Brighton, I think it starts with City.
Well, it's Brighton for the cup.
But you've got but there's like a couple of games. You got Bournemouth, and then there's another winnable game before this horrid run that seems really, really important. And I'm wondering, who do you think has the most pressure on him? Is it Pochettino? Is it big money guys, Caicedo and Enzo? I mean, do you think Pochettino is maybe pushing some of that pressure? Because he's got to be feeling the weight of everything. Is he pushing that off on guys like Silva, or maybe because Caicedo and Enzo, they have to cook. They have to come good quick.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the pressure is on more so on Enzo and Caicedo, and I think you're seeing it from Caicedo at least initially, more so than Pochettino. I think Pochettino has some.
He knows he has time.
Some reassurances.
Potter all that time. He knows
he's got some reassurances. I think with him having a good summer and also, seeing how losing Nkunku has changed the whole setup. And then you lose Chukwuemeka or Carney, he was playing right behind him, and there was a good kind of 1-2 going there.
Captain's hurt, man. Yeah,
it's. You can't say you're band-aiding it together, because you're not. When you've got the type of players that you do. But,
I just meant because of all the injuries. That's why I made that comment. Right now, all of the injuries.
I don't think there's any pressure on him. I think if anything, it's Enzo and Caicedo putting pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I don't think Pochettino has anything to worry about. He's shown a direction change, and so if we're going to compare Lampard and Potter and all those other guys, you didn't feel any direction change when he took over. Like, you didn't feel like there was like sort of an ascendancy possible. But Pochettino has shown sparks where guys have gotten better, and you just see it's just missing cohesion. And so a sane mind could look at that and say, let's wait till he has a run of 10 games or so with a completely healthy team, and then see what he does then. And I think then that you can have a more fair evaluation. But it looks like he's going in the right direction. And it's not like I don't think he lost the step when he went to PSG. I just think, the personalities were what they were, and the expectations were super duper high. I think being at Chelsea this year, I think the goal is to try to bring home 1 cup and finish in the Champions League spot. That those are the 2 goals.
Yeah, most definitely.
100%. It's just, to me.
Would y'all be happy with that? Win the energy drink cup and take 5th place?
Yeah, I'd take that all day.
Yeah, at this point,
I would be satisfied with that completely. Because by the way, I looked at the schedule. It goes Bournemouth, Villa, and then Brighton in the EFL Cup, and then Fulham, Burnley, and then Arsenal.
And
so
to have that goal, think about how many teams would have to be pushed out. Liverpool, and I'm not saying any of those Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton, all those teams are affected if they take one of those spots. So that means they did something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
Just
wanted
like-
to tell y'all this real quick. So it was reported either yesterday or today. I think it was today when I read it, so it may have been yesterday. That the the team doctors and the strength coach have told Mudrick to stop going to the gym so much.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
He's
I
going
don't
to-
know,
lives
man.
He
Nobody
lives-
told Ronaldo to get off the pitch.
Nobody
Yeah.
told Kobe, or MJ get out the
So
Yeah.
are you saying he's training wrong?
They're
No,
saying
they're
he's
saying
working
he's
out too much. He's lifting too much. Like he's working out
Doing
in
too
the
much.
gym
Yeah.
too much.
Like
Was it
he's,
like an
he's a gym
underlying
rat.
he's doing something wrong there?
working too much.
No, they think he's gonna tire himself out. Is what I
Yeah,
think.
they're
He's just-
worried about him like doing something, to his, strain muscles and all that. And that's
They're
one
petrified.
reason-
Look at all the injuries that are flying around. They're so worried that another player.
Is that
Is
why the
gonna get
other
injured.
players got injured? Because I had never heard that.
This was again. It's just on X. It's another thing on Twitter.
It's
just like the whole, Enzo's looking for a way out. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
That one was weird, man.
I don't think so. I don't think
I
so.
understand that. First of all, he's on a 35-year contract, so I don't.
Dude was
understand how that's
ecstatic when we got Caicedo. Like, no, I don't think so. I think y'all were trying
Yeah.
to make up a narrative there.
That one sounds ridiculous for
possible. How dare
sure.
people make up narratives?
I know, right? Gosh.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Yeah, but all in all, I think there's a little bit of pressure there at Chelsea. Pochettino, of course, probably knows that he's good. If they, like you say, X, if they gave Potter that long, then he's got to be good.
It's been
1
year since he was appointed manager. Today was the day last year.
Oh wow,
Been a
X's
hard
favorite
break.
X's favorite day on the calendar.
September
bro.
8th.
Yeah,
Bro, I knew the club was in bad shape when Todd was the announced owner, and then when Todd announced that he was going to hire Potter.
well, we could do a whole episode on how Todd Bowley is running you guys straight into the ground, but we'll save that one for a later date. The season has been full of surprises so far. I think we could start with West Ham being one of the biggest surprises.
Yeah.
How has David Moyes? I mean, they weren't so counterattacking last season, were they? I think they were just like sit back and then sit back some more last
They
season.
relied on Rice to like get them out. And
Yeah.
But
And now it's like the new Brighton. It's like they're trying to do what Man United are doing. I guess the Glazers didn't like that when Moyes tried to pull it off at Manchester United. We're too big to be a counter-attacking club, and look at them now.
Well, he was successful everywhere else he went. I just think it's something wrong with United.
Yeah, that's
It
fair.
is what it is. No one cares about them. Let's talk about
Yeah,
West
let's
Ham.
talk about West Ham.
West Ham is-
Antonio, my man Mikel Antonio, a little bit of a renaissance in the early parts of the season here, looking strong.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving him. I've been a fan. I mean, I don't like it when he plays good against Arsenal, obviously, but you love to see a true old school forward like that, getting amongst the goals, being good. Jared Bowen is obviously having himself a season. West Ham, I think at the beginning of the year, I was like, man, West Ham it's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
But,
haven't been relegated at one point, I think.
This first month of the season, they've shocked, they've surprised.
Paqueta's been good as well, even though is he going to be there the whole year?
He's such a pest, man.
Who?
Paqueta, he's
Oh,
such
yeah,
an
he's
annoying player. That would be awful to play against.
Yeah, he's so annoying. I was gonna say, even though I wasn't here for the previous one, but I kind of nailed how West Ham would be played against how West Ham would kind of struggle breaking down teams because they're used to playing on that counter.
Mhm.
When they are able to play on the counter, you can almost chalk them up for 3 goals because Mikel Antonio holds the ball up well. Paqueta comes up,
Mhm.
Bowen, so it'll be interesting once they start playing more an Arsenal, a City, are they able to get on the counter? When they play the littler teams, can they break them down? And I think that's my whole subject for this season is who can break down a low block and who
The
can't.
low block. Yeah.
And that's really the difference between who wins this league and who doesn't.
Yeah. I agree. Definitely. Especially when you got big bad Manchester United playing in a low block. But speaking of teams that really hate Manchester United, Liverpool are also looking absolutely really strong. They're playing better defense than I really want them to be playing. And last season was flukish. Just injuries to that front line, and Mo Salah's obviously still got it. $220 million offer on the table for my man, which I'm pretty sure they're still saying no.
Yeah, they said no.
And the Saudi window actually closed today.
Yeah.
It may still be not probably. I mean, it's late here, so it's probably
it's
probably done.
Or 4 a.m. there, so
it's probably done. But yeah, man, Liverpool looking scary, and my third place in the prediction table looks pretty strong. Yep. Hopefully, they won't do better than that.
Yeah, I still. I mean, Klopp's great. He's fantastic, and if Nunez does really, come good, like it looks like he's going to be, they'll be fine. But the biggest thing with Liverpool, as you see some of these issues that we've talked about that really haven't come up, it's all based on health. Mm-hmm. So you lose somebody, like, of course, if you lose Salah, you're in trouble. But I mean, say you lose a Slobosai. He's
been so good for them.
He's been so good. Or Luis Diaz.
Diaz.
You lose one of those guys. Yeah. How do they respond? How do they play at that point? Because those guys are so integral, and it takes the pressure off the defense because those guys are going to perform every single game. Is that defense strong enough? I don't think so. I think there's still holes in the midfield, even though they brought in Endo and Gravenberch or Brock or something.
I don't know anything about him. Gravenberch or however you say it. I don't know anything about him.
At Bayern for like the last 2 years. So, but I still think that there's still some holes in their midfield in terms of protecting the back line. Of course, they're attacking midfield. It's fantastic. When you've got McAllister playing the 6, that's just crazy. But
Konate's still hurt too.
Well, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Line issues when Konate comes back.
Yeah, the last game they played was Indo, McAllister, and Szoboszlai, and Gakpo actually sat. But they started with Gakpo in the 10, and McAllister and Szoboszlai. So when McAllister doesn't have to play the 6 and Indo's in there, I know Indo's 30 years old, and I haven't been he hasn't been the most awesome thing since sliced bread from what I've seen so far. But having McAllister to be able to go a little bit farther forward, man, they're going to be scary. They're going to be scary. Anfield's going to suck.
Yeah, it is.
And we're going to see because, I was thinking about the African Nations Cup, which is coming up in January, and you mentioned Salah, and I'm like, is Salah? And I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be gone for that. Mm-hmm. And so I think they normally miss 2 or 3 games for that in the league or something. They missed some. I think they missed 2 or 3 games in the league. It's sort of, I think, FA Cup time. And
here's hoping that Egypt goes all the way.
Yeah, win yourself a final, my guy.
But it just makes it interesting because the question was, well, what happens if Salah's hurt? Well, what happens if they're preparing for Salah to be gone in that period? Because I think I remember we talked about Arsenal was playing Partey at right back to prepare. So when he's gone for the African Cup of Nations, they already have a plan for that. And so I would say the same thing probably needs to be in place for Liverpool. And I don't think last year was such a wacky season where it was off. It's just a matter of they play the rock and roll football, man, and that's attrition, man. You're tired. Those guys can't do that for it's affectionately called City Pool, right? City Pool went on for 5 years, man. 5 years, and he burned through those guys, man.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, and they're definitely going to be tough to beat this season. You have to score lots of goals. Speaking of rock and roll football, old De Zerbi has got Brighton looking real strong this season, barring a shock loss to West Ham. They're scoring lots of goals as well. It's a lot of fun. They got teenagers coming out of nowhere for hat tricks. Still baffles me how they're able to sell all of their best players and still smash teams.
You mean like Dortmund and Southampton and stuff? Well, not Southampton, but Dortmund.
Well, yeah. Southampton, not so much, but yeah. But
Billy Gilmore playing well as a 6, like I'm blown away about that. I'll be honest with you.
It's the manager.
As Chelsea fans, you guys kind of can't like Brighton that much.
No.
Can't stand them.
No.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that they're also going to be very tough to beat this season, but they're going to be fun. It's fun.
The teenager that looks 30 is like the Diego Costa. I am 13 written in crayon.
Yes.
To go with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man.
I heard a rumor, as a quick aside, is that because at Barcelona, some of the Barcelona fans are unhappy with the direction, and they have picked their new guy that they want, and it's De Zerbi. They
really
they want him. And
he should stay, man.
Being honest, if Barcelona calls,
would charge for him.
You heard what Pep said about Barcelona, though. He had to quit because it was taking years off of his life. You don't want to go to that dumpster fire, especially when you're competing, you're improving a team that has been steadily getting better and better and better and better and better and better. You're in Europa League. You have more than one opportunity this season to play in Champions League next season. And I guess they didn't get an awesome group.
The history, man.
They didn't get an awesome group in Europa League. I'll give them that. They caught a Champions League group, and somehow Arsenal got a Europa League group. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I mean, if De Zerbi can come out of there and say, "Yeah, we handled Ajax and Marseille, and then went on to win the Europa League," like he could stay there. He could stay there and make a name. I feel like, and especially if they do good
by Juve or Inter or.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it, but
I'm not advocating for him to leave, but I'm just saying,
I hear it, but I'm also a fan, product of the Fergie Wenger era, and like seeing managers, really stick with a team for a long time. But he's got them playing good. They're tough to beat, man, and I'm slowly not liking it. I enjoy watching them, but they smashed Arsenal away from home last season, so that wasn't fun. And they're going to be tough again this season. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Speaking of not liking it at all, what's going on at Spurs, man? Big Ange got them complete turnaround, playing completely different than they were last season.
James Maddison looks like an actual good football player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they've managed that. I don't know how they've done that one, but yeah, they're cooking. And Heung-min Son, he's off the mark. He's got his beginning of the season hat trick, and so he's going to start scoring now. Man, it's I don't, we might have to edit this part out, but they're actually a little bit fun to watch.
Stop it.
It's actually decent. Until they put the second stringers in and try to beat Fulham in the cup, and then it's back to last season, back to what we know. But I think United and Spurs have switched identities. I think Roy Keane was right. If you look at it last season, Spurs were trying to give goals so that they could come back with a dramatic victory every game. And playing this sit back, give you the ball style. What are United doing right now?
Exactly.
They're just giving you the ball and sitting back. And that's what Spurs did all last season. I think Roy Keane was right.
I still think Spurs, just in general, are kind of teetering on the edge. Like it's going to be one, like say Basama goes down, then it's just gonna change them, or even Madison goes down, and with them because they're in what? Are they in Europe?
No.
Oh, they're not in Europe, so.
Nope.
They might
And yeah, and now they're out the cup too, so they're playing once a week, man.
Yeah, they might be
once
okay.
a week.
They might be okay, but it just feels like. I mean, I've got a lot of respect already for Big Ange, but it does feel like when you watch them that it's that certain core of players. Like it's not spread throughout the squad yet. It's just that certain core of players, and
the way Arsenal one team last season, we had like 12 guys last season.
Yeah,
same kind of thing.
So it'll be interesting to see, but unfortunately, they are fun to watch. I've gotten up and watched them play early on a Saturday because let's see what they look like.
Yeah, well, in I guess it's 3 weeks time, they're in for a humbling. So I'm excited. I'm more nervous about it than I would have been last season, because normally Arsenal, like the last 6 seasons before last season, we won at home and lost away to Spurs, but we broke that and got the double over them last season, and I'm hoping we can do the same, despite the fact that there are positive signs coming out of that side of North London. Speaking of teams we love to hate, though, Manchester United are in the absolute mud right now, and I'm wondering,
out of the tabloids either.
Yeah, I mean, is United in a worse spot, or is Newcastle in a worse spot? At least Newcastle aren't, they don't have all this high-profile crap in the tabloids, but as far as on the pitch, Newcastle are in a bad way as well. But I want to talk about Erik ten Hag, because I've heard some things. I watch a whole ton of football, soccer content, right? And I've heard some people talking about how did he get, like, wondering if he's kind of like, I'm not gonna say it, because I'm not gonna say that I'm supporting this opinion, but someone has said that, it was on YouTube, said that they think he might be a bit of a fraud. They're wondering how he's gotten the job at Manchester United, because to come out and be blaming refs every week and talking about how the team was hard done by and the decisions didn't go their way, and throwing players under the bus, it's kind of baffling from a management standpoint that he's chosen the things he said in press conferences. It's a little odd. It's a bit of, and he's he said era's end, and he's pretty much smashed any era United thought they might have been having. It's not your father's Manchester United, we'll put it that way. And I feel like England and the world and Man United fans especially just have to accept the fact that that's how he plays. That's what he does, and he doesn't know anything different, especially when you look at, he's brought in Højlund. What was he trying to do last year with old Veggie? It's going to be the same thing. He's going to try to lump it to Højlund. They actually looked decent when Højlund come in versus us. For 10 minutes, he battled with Gabriel, and he won a second ball, and they had possession for about 30 seconds, which is something they hadn't done the whole game. So moving forward, we're going to see a lot of lumping it into Højlund. They're the new Brentford.
Well, I think a thing that's kind of interesting is that the question of is Ten Hag a fraud? I think I think it's really something we talked about before. I really think it's United because Jose Mourinho went there and he struggled, and then you had David Moyes there and he struggled, and then they just named the guy that went there and they struggled, and these guys have left them, gone to other places, and they've been successful, and they're playing the same ball with lesser players. So either the egos thing is there, right? So you got the egos of players obviously overplaying, and then you have the allure of History FC just holding it there. But it's funny because Ten Hag coach was managed at Ajax before, and they have a ton of history there, a ton. So
he was successful too.
He was, but you know, I and not to interrupt you, Lewis, but I think that's actually the point. He was successful at Ajax, but you think about all the talent that goes through Ajax.
So there was no talent at United?
No, I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying it made him look better than.
But you're kind of making the point where I think it's United because it's not like United don't have talented players. Because if a bunch of talented players are going through United and he can't win, but a bunch of talented players went through Ajax and he won, and he's there, it's the team. And I think it's an unfair. I mean, I think one of the things is he needs to raise his level. So coming in with the arrogance of United era's end, right? Yes, your error, ERROR, was that you talk too much. You need to win something on the field, and then you go from there. And he didn't. And the thing is, then it was like, well, let me get my kinds of players. Well, the issue with that, and it goes to your point, Patrick, about the talent, is if we took Ajax and put them in the Premier League, how would they perform?
I mean, he brought Anthony over, and we've seen what that's like. But my point being is,
I think the top.
Talk about History FCs, right? Right. We're talking about History FCs, and I think the thing is that everybody saw what he did at Ajax, which I mean, that's a History FC. They're the kings of their league. You know, they're like the Man City of their league. He now comes over to United, and there's still this mindset that, oh, we're still awesome, we're still great, but you're not. You know, you buy talent, you know, but it doesn't fit. And then you've got a guy who doesn't seem not only not how to use that talent, but is so fixated on playing negative. Like, that's not United. I mean, as much as it pains me to say that, I mean, that's truly not United. Now, were there times under Fergie where they would play more of a counterattack? Yeah, with Chicharito specifically. You know, I could think of multiple times against Chelsea where Chelsea had the ball. Chelsea was, you know, taking shots left and right. And then United, you know, hits a counter and Chicharito's, you know, one-on-one versus the goalie. Or reverse check at that point. You know, but I guess what I'm trying to say is he was good at Ajax. But who else has been good at Ajax? Look at the talent compared to the rest of the league. You know, I saw a clip today actually from Champions League. I think you actually liked it. And it was like moments in Champions League, like weird moments or whatnot. And the last clip was Hakim Ziyech. And he plays an incredible ball across field. Never did that at Chelsea.
Yeah, I was going to say, what jersey was he wearing in that? I couldn't figure it out.
That was Ajax.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Never did that at Chelsea.
You know what?
You know, we've got Mohamed Kudus. Kudus, who's going to play for West Ham. We're going to see what kind of player he is in the Premier League. We've already seen what Anthony does in the Premier League. So I think it's juggernaut of a team in a lower league, and he's gotten this opportunity that he probably shouldn't have gotten. And we're now seeing that he's not a tactician by any means.
I mean, y'all last season we said the same. This is it kind of fits the script from last season to this season. We said the same exact thing about United. United hits this huge run. You can credit it to Rashford or not. You can credit to the team or not. Ten Hag pulls them from 12th all the way up to 4th, and they're playing Champions League football, and we're not. Like, you can say what you want about him. He did pull himself up by the bootstraps. He pulled the team up by the bootstraps, won games, got W's, got points, put his team in a cup final, won it. And, like, I hate United. I hate Ten Hag. I do think he deserves that job. He proved he deserved it last season. He finished top 4 and he won a trophy. That's exactly what we're trying to do with a manager who we say is established and we say who deserves this job more so than anybody. Like,
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with it.
More than deserves that job.
You could see it in the way Arsenal gave United respect at the weekend. He's got enough star power on the team. He's got enough individual technical quality on the team that when you can set up stoutly and defensively, and you got guys that can hit on the break and that can score and that can, when they have space like that, do individual things with individual brilliance, i.e. Rashford getting 30 goals, it's going to carry you a long way because you'll still be tough to score against. And, if you can get 1 or 2 goals against probably half the teams in this league and you can keep them from, United are good enough to keep them from scoring. And then that's good enough to rocket up the table.
Yep.
But so it's kind of, yeah, okay, they finished 3rd, but also like, were they really that good? I think the individual run of Rashford, and just the way they were solid defensively and still are is why they seem so good.
I mean, De Gea had 18 clean sheets last season. 18.
Yep.
And that that's the funny thing. Wow, it's crazy. That matters because if we compare De Gea, if De Gea was in the games where Onana made the mistakes, does De Gea make those same mistakes? And my answer is no. I don't think he makes those mistakes. And I think they have better results from there. And another thing, because it made me think about this when I said something about, how United is run. It kind of begs the question also of, United it's clearly United is an establishment because even though it's run poorly, they still kind of find a place. And this is where, and I give Chelsea credit for getting back to like stability, whereas Chelsea is working their way there too. Chelsea is a historic club, but if Chelsea was run like United was run, dude, you would be.
They are vying for worst owners possible. Did you know the Glazers valued Manchester United at $10 billion?
Yep.
No one's buying United for $10 billion. Get out of here.
With Vaseline, they are.
Well, all I'll say on the tactician side of it is he played Weghorst as a 10. And that was a total train wreck.
He is him.
And he did it for a long time, too.
Yeah. Like there was no changing it, even though it kept being a train wreck.
Yeah, questionable.
Well, Martial was hurt.
Questionable
Ronaldo walked out of the locker room. To his credit, he didn't have anybody else.
Yeah, I hear you, but you can
Kai Havertz situation.
You can figure it out.
We did the same thing.
You can figure out something better than a pure straight up target man who played in the championship last season. Come on, like you can do better than that.
I agree, but
you're Manchester United, and you're looking to Wout Weghorst to create for you. Like, I guess we got to give them credit. Like you say, they managed to get results
with this 4, right?
With just a makeshift attack. Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's. I actually think that unfortunately Højlund is going to make them better. He's going to make them a lot better than they were versus Arsenal. Yeah. They've been so far this season. Not because I think he's going to be running in behind and scoring goals. I think he's going to be more of an Ivan Toney than
He's
Erling
big enough
Haaland.
to knock it down. Yeah.
I can see
He's
that.
gonna be more like Tony than Holland because Holland is a freak of nature. But speaking of another team who's not doing so great, what is going on with Newcastle? Is it straight up they just got screwed on the schedule? But they've lost 3 games already. It took them till March to lose that many last season.
They're playing the exact same with a little bit better players. So I think people are knowing what to expect when they play Newcastle. They know exactly what to expect. And we saw Newcastle have trouble scoring last season in spells. They would go super hot, dump in a lot of goals, then they didn't score anything. And I think they really kind of took into account maybe some of those managers have figured out what it was about in those spells that kept them from scoring. Like I said, it just looks like people are playing them better defensively. Like their midfield's going to do what their midfield's going to do. You're not keeping Guimaraes. You're not keeping and Tonali off the ball.
I think Guimaraes has had a rough season so far.
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't know why. I haven't heard anything about niggling injuries or girlfriend problems or off-field nothing. I have no idea. He's just been kind of substandard.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Like said, it's expectations, man.
I think people figured out how to play them very well.
Yeah, man.
And that's where Hal's he's gotta. I mean, it's like you take away his fastball. What does he come back?
You better be Greg Maddux,
and he's got to find a way. Whether it's playing Isak and Wilson together so they can bang in some goals or what do you do? Because Nick Pope hasn't looked like the potential Golden Glove.
Ruining my prediction, by the way.
Just destroying all predictions. Yeah. What are they going to do? Because they go to Milan in 2 weeks' time.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
2 weeks from yesterday
fun to watch.
Is Newcastle at the San Siro.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
I won't be watching. I'm gonna be. I'll be watching the PSV Arsenal, of course.
The Chelsea boys are about to just
yeah.
Tonali homecoming.
Oh my goodness, that's gonna be rough. That's gonna be rough. It's gonna be
over there, man.
kind of a trial by fire. Kind of a welcome to the Champions League.
Champions League.
Yeah.
Here, have the quarter. Yeah, have a.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of teams that are newly welcomed, I think all 3 of our newly promoted teams this season have looked brave at times.
Brave.
But none of them can score, man. It's rough. I feel so bad for Vince Kompany because, I have a soft spot for coaches who become, players who become coaches. That's why, as much as I love to rag on old Frankie Lampard, I wanted to see him do good, and so I want to see Vince Kompany do good, and it's been tough. It's been tough.
If they didn't get that Luton game moved, they would have had a win because they would have smashed them.
I think Burnley are better than Luton. I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, according to ESPN FC, as I throw my own thing, Inter Miami might be better than Luton Town too.
No way.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
The geriatric club that they got going on, they got the retired Barcelona squad playing pickleball on Saturday.
The last Messi highlight I watched, the last Miami highlight I watched, Messi gets a ridiculous amount of space in the MLS. You don't get that in the Premier League.
No.
They don't care who you are.
They don't care. He's 36 years old. You know how many bruises he's going to have after the Sheffield United game?
That's why N'Golo Kante left. He's like, bro, I can't do this no more.
Yeah, Messi he'd miss half the games. He'd miss half the games in Premier League. He would play 17 games in a Premier League season at his age. He'd get destroyed. I would say, Luton would beat Miami, of course.
I agree.
Of course.
I agree, actually. I would put...
Yes. I put money that Sheffield, Luton, and Burnley can all beat Miami.
100%.
Yeah.
110%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah, man.
I'm just doing the face because I agree. But
I think Messi at this age could be bullied.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
He just could be, you know. But that's not what this segment's about. I think Everton are in the worst trouble of all.
Yep.
Did you see that Damari Gray went to Saudi?
Yep.
They're done.
They've sold another attacker.
They're done, man.
They're just
And-
going to rely on
And
Bet
they let Alex Iwobi go. They let Alex Iwobi go as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're done.
No.
It's an absolute that's the dumpster fire of dumpster fires.
Yo, if Iwobi, we'll take Iwobi, bro.
It's gone, bro. He's gone.
let's-
He's injured. He's on
I
a
don't care.
he's,
Put him on
he's
He can
He-
join the other boys in the hospital, man. We got plenty of company to keep. Like he can come chill.
they're in some serious trouble.
Well, I think they knew they were done last year, and now this year is just like, hey, we're gonna get our money and get prepared.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
You got to pay for that stadium somehow.
They're done.
That's bad news, man. That is bad news,
And the-
Bears.
The issue is their ownership. Like if they go down, they may be down for a while.
Yeah, I mean it might
Their
be.
ownership is it's total chaos.
Yo, let me
It
win
can-
that $1 billion lottery. I'm gonna buy Everton.
Like
Do it. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There you go.
X Todd Bowley's bad. You should look at what Everton's going through. Like
That's
that
right.
is horrible.
I feel like Dyche is going to be a scapegoat before too long.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later, he'll get.
Lamb to slaughter. Just absolute.
It's the
So who do they
manager's
get
fault
at
that
that
we don't
point?
have any players.
Yeah, he'll get axed. He'll get scapegoated. He'll probably be the first one. He might be the.
Put in your applications, boys. Everybody's up for that job. Ain't nobody gonna want it.
Somebody else already got fired. Did I miss something?
No, that was somewhere in Europe. My bad.
But no, I think
Actually,
I just don't see them. Who is look at the team, look at the sheet, man. Look at the fixture list. They couldn't beat Sheffield. Who are they gonna beat?
Burnley and Luton.
No. Vince will get a win. Old company will get himself a win. Dude, guess who they're playing next? Arsenal's at Goodison at the end of the break.
they're dropping 5 on them. Is this the prediction thing?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, we haven't dropped 5 goals in a meaningful
You
game.
will
And
that game.
I mean, they're bad. Everton are bad,
No,
and it's
Arsenal scored 2 within the
shocking.
first 15 minutes, and then
don't
that's
you
all
don't
the-
you don't you
and that's
don't
it
you
for
even-
the rest of the Saturday. That's
don't
it.
I don't like that's uncalled for.
You
Okay,
know what's gonna happen. Saka is gonna hit.
It's uncalled
Starboy's
for.
gonna hit a banger. Odegaard's gonna score, and they're like, "All right, guys, that was it. Great game."
we'll be up 2-0. We'll be up 2-0 in 17 minutes, and then they're gonna score in the 84th, and it's gonna be a nervy end of the game.
2-1 for the nervy.
Sounds about right.
Ridiculous, man.
The life of an Arsenal supporter.
We all know it's gonna happen. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue is one, their academy is not producing anything. You know, if you think about some of the players that have been produced by their academy, it's a pretty good list. 2, the ownership is so terrible that they're not putting any money into the club. You know, because they're concerned about the stadium, but I don't even know how the ownership comes into play with the stadium.
Do they don't even own it, do they? Doesn't somebody else own the stadium?
I think someone else owns the stadium. Yeah. So, and then the new stadium, which is going to be really nice. Unfortunately, they'll be in the championship when it opens. You
Sunderland.
know, I mean,
Let's
it'll
go,
earn them some money.
Derby County.
You know, it'll earn them some money, but they're going to have. I think they go down and they stay down for.
Oh, they're not bouncing up. They won't be back next season. That's for sure.
No, they won't.
Or the following season. There's no way.
They're going to have to get new ownership first off.
Yeah.
That ownership's not going to allow them to.
More Americans.
Withstand.
Yeah,
Well,
oh,
that's what they
goodness.
are. They're Americans.
Are they really? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are.
That's what the Premier League needs is another Todd
Or-
Bowley.
Yeah.
Because then we're gonna have
Another
a
London
All-Star
Cowboys,
game.
baby.
Yeah.
New All-Star game.
Oh my
I'm
god.
sorry, they're owned by an accountant, Iranian-born Farad Mashiri. And then they're like their board's got like some Americans on it too.
America.
America. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, that's it's gonna be the struggle bus united for Everton, most likely for Luton and Sheffield as well. I think Burnley are just gonna be okay, but yeah, it's gonna be another season with some interesting dynamics down at the bottom. So yeah, there it is, the Premier League season so far. It's been pretty good. And we're definitely excited to be here, excited for the action that is coming up. But speaking of things coming up, our channel is nearing its 1 year anniversary. And our preview episode for match week 5 will be our 1 year anniversary episode. We do have one episode in between coming up for you on Monday. We're going to be doing the final of the summer bracket challenge. We've held off for the beginning of the new season, but the summer's coming to a close, and so we're gonna have to finish the bracket before it finishes us on Monday. That will be we'll be doing the end of the summer bracket series. If you want to follow along and check out where the bracket has been, definitely check out the playlist here on YouTube. The bracket itself has been on Instagram the whole time. And Instagram is also where you find our predictions table, which I'll just throw this in here. I happen to be on top of.
But doing
good.
Coming for you.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. But hopefully we can displace Patrick at the top of that pile from last season. Yeah. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are on our way to 100 subscribers, and get the notification bell on so you know about all the new stuff. Again, like I said, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and have a good night.